Russia has made great efforts, but ultimately failed in its efforts to dislodge the commanding Ukrainian garrison at Avdiivka. Now, in the context of a Ukrainian counteroffensive that has been going on for 4 months, Russia is trying again. However, this effort does not seem to be going smoothly for Russia. By directly attacking Ukrainian troops who were in a strong defensive position, Russian forces once again learned the hard lesson that Ukraine had experienced in the initial weeks of the counteroffensive. Attacking enemy fortifications is a complex and expensive task, especially when enemy artillery has been identified in advance and enemy drones are active throughout the area. With the high probability that this attack would fail, the retreating Russian forces and the positions they were trying to defend became increasingly vulnerable. Just a day after the Russian offensive began on Tuesday, the area between Russian and Ukrainian positions north and south of Avdiivka was littered with damaged Russian vehicles as well as casualties on the part of Russian infantry killed or wounded. Independent analysts tallying the costs of fighting in Ukraine are quick to point out the extent of this disaster. Andrew Perpetua, an analyst, in just the last 24 hours confirmed the loss of about 70 vehicles by the Russian side, while only about 15 vehicles were lost by the Ukrainian side. The losses suffered by Russia included at least one of the 4 main types of tanks, namely the T-62, T-72, T-80 and T-90. The only tank type missing was the 70-year-old T-54/55. There were also claims from Ukrainian sources that Russia lost 34 tanks in all. It looks like the Russians have mobilized about half a dozen regiments and a motor rifle brigade to launch a 2-pronged attack on Avdiivka. They brought thousands of infantry troops and hundreds of tanks and combat vehicles between them, overwhelming the Ukrainian garrison of just 2 brigades at Avdiivka. Apart from that, Russia also received significant support in the form of air and artillery assistance. A Russian Air Force Sukhoi Su-35 fighter plane reported carrying out an airstrike on Avdiivka. There have also been reports of the use of guided munitions, such as UPAB and KB, which Ukrainian forces consider Russia's most fearsome weapons. However, despite all the Russian assets and troops involved in this attack, it does not appear to have had a significant impact, especially since Ukrainian forces have had months, if not years, to prepare their defenses. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that the Ukrainian defenders bravely defended their lines, successfully repelling 10 enemy attacks near Avdiivka, as well as 8 other attacks in eastern areas, such as Stepove and Sjeverne, along the same sector of the front. Continuous surveillance by Ukrainian forces plays an important role in their defense efforts. Unit 129, operating drones on behalf of territorial forces in Avdiivka, managed to fly for 20 consecutive hours and managed to accurately track the entire Russian invading force. While it is still debated whether the Russian armed forces in Ukraine still have significant operational reserves, this failed offensive, even if Russia still has a lot of troops in reserve, would at least use up a significant amount of their resources and force the Kremlin to recover or replace units that suffered losses significant in the attack. Although there has been no official declaration of victory, it appears that the Russian goal was to encircle Avdiivka without attacking the city center, which would have starved the Ukrainian garrison. Russia might replan and try again. Therefore, the situation remains serious and continues to develop.